We'll do it in a minute. Thanks for watching Numbskull News. We are live. Got me a guest. Let me go ahead and pull him on. I hope it worked. I don't know. I think I can hear you now. Got me, brother?
Yep.
All right. I hear you.
Can you hear me? Good.
Yeah. So apparently there's news breaking every 5 damn seconds with this PAC shit.
It's a new way.
Yeah. So Utah State apparently is in. Who I don't know. I guess I wasn't taking them very seriously. I was really hoping they'd do the 2 Texas schools, or at least one of them.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess Utah State is jealous of their 2 big brothers moving on to higher ground. So that I guess them to go. And I think was it Pete Thamel just reported that UNLV is going to take a look at everything since Utah State is going. I guess they were, what do you think about it?
Well, word is that the agreements that they all signed with the Mountain West are based upon it being like an actual full conference. And so they thought that Utah State would be part of that. And then when Utah State backed out, now they're reconsidering. Does this cause Air Force to reconsider the AAC? We don't really quite know at this moment. It's one big game of chicken.
True.
It's you got the Mountain West and the PAC both sitting now at 7-ish members. Both of them are under the mark they need to be at. We've heard recently from the P2 that they don't want to see any more FCS schools brought up, which doesn't necessarily mean these conferences have to follow that.
From the P2, you mean talking about?
Yeah, I think it was the P2. SEC? I mean, it kind of came from the direction of the Big Ten and SEC. I don't know if Big 12 and the ACC are kind of with that as well. I'm trying to remember back, but I do remember there recently something was said about this when this whole story was just starting to unfold.
Well, if I'm the Mountain West, I don't give 2 randy shits what the SEC and the Big Ten say about anything. I'm just going to do what I need to do. Period. I don't give a damn. I haven't read anything else new about Gonzaga, though, because I always thought that would be a pretty smart deal for the PAC to go out and get them. Don't know about a full membership, but, they bring units. You need to get paid in every which way you can with this new PAC. It's about money. Mm-hmm. So Gonzaga brings units every year. So I think that would be paramount for them, at least to increase one revenue stream for them. So I don't know if you heard anything else about that. I haven't seen anything else about Gonzaga.
There was some stuff on exit. They were originally reported by McMurphy that they were going to the PAC. And then a whole bunch of reports came out pushing back against that, including a report from a beat writer for Boise State. Anyways, for Gonzaga, that the Gonzaga AD came out saying that the report was untrue. So where we're at right now is it kind of sounds like they're talking. If that makes
so a beat writer for Gonzaga said that?
Yeah. So
I always take the beat writers with a little bit of a grain of salt. They need access, and so they're going to kind of regurgitate what they hear from within the program.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that's true, sometimes it's propaganda, depending on where the school's at.
And they didn't say that there wasn't talks, just that there wasn't an agreement in place.
Gotcha.
So they're talking. It's just we don't know.
Well, Mr. Rob, sorry, we just went out there just like a Pornhub movie and just went at it just right from the get-go. No warm up, no foreplay, no nothing. But UNLV is looking back at it. We still don't know if that's a thing, but Mr. Rob SHK. It's a weird handle there, Rob. But yeah, I mean, I always, I've been pushing for the PAC. I kind of thought this is what they were going to do from the jump. I didn't see them going to the ACC. It's just too far. And I know Stanford and Cal are supposed to be super smart, but it was really stupid for them to go all the way over there for $10 million. Oregon State and Washington State did the right thing and said, you know what, that's a bad deal. We're not going to do it. And I don't know if they talked to the ACC or not. I know they talked to the Big 12, but it didn't really go anywhere because ESPN didn't give a damn. And ESPN wasn't going to flip the bill for them to come in. And none of the new members of the Big 12 are going to give up money for Oregon State and Washington State. I mean, even, and I don't know if they would really have had to, because I don't know. Because of that deal for 2026, if they rebuild the pack, then they get the money. So if they just go to the Big 12, then there goes the money. So I don't know how much they can.
I think it's time. Like it's still 2026. Like, I don't think it's forever. Like, they're supposed to endeavor to put together the pack. But they really only have until 2026 when the 2-year grace period is over.
Right.
So if they, if until that point they're working on it and it just doesn't come together, then I don't think that they would owe anything back. They did everything that they could. The question becomes, was it like, were they really trying? Or because report we got from some folks in the AAC is that there was no negotiation with those schools. They just sent over like terms. Like, this is what you got to agree to join us, or else, or it's not happening. So it doesn't really seem like a true attempt.
I don't know. Because they would have, if Memphis would have went for those terms, they would have accepted them, right?
Sure.
But I think what they're saying with Memphis and Tulane and all them, it's like, look, it's not like we're adding Virginia Tech here. It's not like,
Mm-hmm.
even though Virginia Tech hadn't won jack in over 10 years and their ratings are pretty bad, it's still Virginia Tech. There's still value there. So it's not like we're doing that or getting Louisville or getting someone like that. Y'all are a G5, and I know right now maybe Oregon State and Washington State aren't. They're Independence, not quite a G5, a little above that maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So they're saying, look, you got value, but we're not going to just throw over the money train for you and give you everything in the world. We're going to, if you want it, here you go. Here's a step up from where you are, but we're not going to overpay for you. That's kind of what it looked like to me. And I think that's business-wise, that's smart. Now, it may end up costing the Pac-12 a little money on whatever TV deal they got worked out behind the scenes, because this depends on who they add. And I don't know if there's no other G5s that have the value of Memphis or Tulane or South Florida. But what's the difference? Is it you lose $1 million per school because you have UNLV and Utah State? Maybe. But I don't know. I don't think there's enough of a difference to over offer them so much, because what is the exit fee for the American? I keep hearing 25.
That's what I've seen. I don't know if that's a 1-year advance or if if you do it 2 years in advance, but the number I've seen thrown around everywhere is 25.
Yeah, because I remember when it was like Cincinnati, Houston, UCF, it was $10 million per. But that was something. Resco, I think his name was.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's something that they were able to work out with the former commissioner. I think because now they got a new one coming in, don't they? Or they already had them.
Pernetti's with them now. The thing what kind of seems to be the case with these is the longer you have, the little more time you spend discussing it and negotiating it, the more downwards it can go. But if you're trying to get this stuff done real quick, my guess is you're not going to get the price lowered all that much. Because you're the one in need. Like, why do they need to work with you very much? So I think that was part of a problem for them. It's that they weren't going to get much leeway from the AAC on it.
Yeah.
And honestly, they don't have a deal in the pack. Like, you have a deal with ESPN currently in the AAC.
Right.
So it's like, why would I if I was running one of those schools, why would I spend 25 million, or in this case 22.5 million, to get out, to be a minority member in a conference, because there'd be 6 West Coast schools and 2 to 4 East Coast, and not have really much of a say in where it goes in the future, because you're going to be outvoted on stuff. When they said it was only going to be like 2 to 4 schools, and we never saw 6, I kind of thought it was dead at that point in time. I just couldn't really understand why those schools would go for such a risk and then not have a say in how to alleviate that risk, if that makes sense.
I don't know if it's as much of a risk as it is. It's just not enough money for that kind of travel, because your travel expense is going to go up a couple $1 million for all your programs. If Memphis joins, that's a couple extra $1 million. And right now they're making between 8 and 9 million in the American. I mean, let's just go with the top dollar of this new pack, which is 15, which I don't think is going to be 15. Realistically, 10 to 12. But let's just go to 15. Well, you're still, that's not like you said, that's not a ton of money. There's the ESPN thing, but I would push back with, is it ESPN that you're on, or you're really on ESPN Plus if you're the American? You're not getting a ton of time on ABC. You're not getting a lot of exposure on main ESPN, maybe a little bit ESPN2, ESPN University, ESPN The Ocho, but you're not a ton. Most of their crap's going to be on ESPN Plus. So do you value that, or I don't know who this mystery partner is for the pack? Could it be TNT? Right now, that might be a better deal for those schools to be on TNT, because at least you're on linear TV while it's still relevant, for right now. And in the future, ESPN is going to get their hands on a lot more anyway.
Yeah, I think if I was really doing it, what I'd want is multiple, because we don't really know. We don't know, with these conferences expanding and having more content from, the Big Ten, from the SEC. I mean, it used to be when these were like 12-team leagues, you had less content to choose from. But now, as these top leagues get bigger and bigger, how much more do, say, an ESPN or a Fox, do they really need to go down? I mean, they probably don't need to go down below the Big 12. I mean, between the Big 12 and the Big 10 and the ACC and SEC, I don't know how much there really is to need. So I think having a situation where you can pretty much be the premier G5 is just probably the best situation overall.
Yeah.
But there's just risk. Like, you don't know. Like, you can have Navigate Consulting tell you, well, this is your value and this is what you should be able to get. But there's no guarantee in that. Like, there's no network that owes them a deal. And
no one owes them a deal. But
right.
Live sports is still live sports. West Coast time frames are still West Coast time frames. And right now you got a little bit with some Big 10 schools, very little bit with some Big 12 schools. Other than that, it's Mountain West. So if you can basically reform a Mountain West with, more watched programs than, let's say, Hawaii or someone like that, or Wyoming, then you got something that's a little bit more valuable. So, TNT, like I said, they just lost their main shit. So if you can get in with them, if you can get in with a streamer as well, like a package, with both. And like I said, I don't think it's going to be for big money, because right now, 10, 12, $13 million a year per school, that's not big money for anybody, for any of these media people. And sure as hell not for streamers. They shit that kind of money.
Yeah. But, the AAC has a look-in with ESPN in 26.
Who's
so that? AAC, American. So anything they add, if they can find a way to add to their value, they can turn around and use that in 26. And if I'm looking to create something and then have, negotiate new deals, they can do that just as well as, say, the PAC or the Mountain West. And if somehow they move into the West and get themselves some West Coast coverage for what you're talking about, then I think they are probably hands down the best deal going for a network to get with, because for like what you're saying, you can get your West Coast, but how much of that do you need? You just one game a week, one or two. So
yeah, and depending on who, because if you're Fox, you got some of that.
You already got it, yeah.
But you're sharing it with NBC and you're sharing it with CBS, that late night thing. Well, I don't know if you're sharing. It's a weird way they split it up in the Big Ten. But either way, I mean, Fox doesn't even have a damn streamer. I don't know if Crackle's going to start showing games. I don't think so.
Yeah, I think most of Big Ten streaming is now kind of going to Peacock.
Yeah,
that's where we're getting a lot of the streamed games is on Peacock. Fox, I know I think it's next week, whatever. I mean, they're looking at like 3 games a day still. So it's like they got a late night game, or they got a Friday game. They have the big noon, and then they have a late night game with the Big Ten. So they're filling up 3 slots a week with them. I'm assuming there's probably, at some point in time, maybe I don't know if they even do FS1 with the Big Ten. I think that's largely Big 12 and maybe Mountain West.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what you see with that, but I don't know. Right now, it's a very hard situation to make sense of. At the end of the day, to be sitting here with the 17 Mountain West and a 17 Pac looking at each other with an AAC that just had every single school of theirs put out an announcement that they're committed to the AAC. It just kind of feels like we are in the period that I've been saying is G5 consolidation. Now, some people are saying this is going to actually cause more of a split up than a consolidation. But I think by the end of this, there's going to be some big winners and some big losers. And right now, of the 3, only the AAC actually has a feasible conference in hand. So we'll see how it goes.
Well, I mean, from the way it's looking, yeah, I mean, the Pac will get to 8. But I did like your idea of a possible merger one day. I'm a merger fan. I'm waiting for a merger to happen.
I know. Got a lot of pushback on that idea.
I don't know why, because I think it would actually be a very wise idea. I mean, the American, if we just leave the Pac-12 out of the discussion, the American is, like you said, it's the biggest G5. It's the most important G5. It makes the most money. It gets the most eyeballs, whether anyone likes that shit or not. It's what they are. When UNLV is your biggest program, you got a problem. I mean, I'm just saying, they're important for the Pac. They're important for the Mountain West. They're not important for anybody else.
Yeah.
Everyone can book a trip to Vegas. You don't have to invite UNLV to go to Vegas. So, but for those 2 conferences, if they do combine into something like a new, I don't know, Pac East, West, whatever, I don't know what you would call it, but that may be some good, coast to coast goodness there. And I know travel's still an issue, but if you're doing pods, you don't have to travel a ton every year. I mean, and there's enough schools to do that, to keep that travel to a minimum. I think it would be good for both conferences to figure that out, because the money difference isn't so crazy. It won't be between the Pac and the American. So I think if you're media partners and you want to solidify something that way, that would probably be the best deal.
I would think so. That's why I like the idea of 6 schools from the AAC going over to the Pac and having yourself your 2 divisions. It'd be the high end value groups, comparatively speaking, G5 wise. But now with this situation, then I thought, okay, well, now we'll probably see the Pac have to inevitably move in with the AAC, and it's a little bit larger. It's a little more cumbersome. It's like a 20 team, but that's how it goes. The AAC has the deal. And then out of nowhere, Utah State happens. So now I don't know, because if that's real, I mean, that's 7. And if they get another one in 8, like, it kind of really is starting to blow the merger idea out of the water. So
Yeah, I can't remember how many schools are in the American right now.
13 full-time, full members.
Who's
So,
part-time?
Well, there's some members that are only there for like a couple sports.
Oh, okay. Well,
I think there's like six, and some of them are ones that you would be surprised at, like Wake Forest. No, Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's there for something.
Okay.
Like they play a sport that.
Schools.
Yeah.
13?
13.
Well, I mean, that'd be a 20-team conference if you just merge what the Pac has right now, if you include Utah State.
I mean, you have like the Pac and the Mountain West kind of having a pose off for the AAC, perhaps, right? Like,
yeah,
look, we look better than them. I mean, if you're UNLV and that's the case, and say the Pac gets chosen by the AAC and they merge, how stupid do you feel?
Yeah, true, very true. Well, let's look on some of these damn comments here. Cornelius, he doesn't like to agree with me much. So, head coaches love ESPN, and the visibility of the TV market is dried up as far as money goes. I don't see a conference going with CW as their primary broadcast partner right now. Well, it may not be a primary, but it can be a part of it, part of the soup. And like I said before, I mentioned TNT. They need content. They're not going to have NBA after this year, or once this current NBA season ends, because summer of 2025, that's it for TNT. So they're going to need something to replace it with. And I know coaches love ESPN, but like I said, if you're an American team, how often are you on ABC or or main ESPN where you get the most exposure? Not very often, because like you said, you got the ACC, you got the SEC, and you got the Big 12.
Yeah.
That fills up most of their spots. Mm-hmm. Even plenty of ACC teams, and hell, plenty of all three of those conferences are on ESPN Plus every week anyway. I mean, Houston's not going to get on ABC that often, or even main ESPN that often, unless they're playing Utah or they're playing TCU, someone who gets good ratings. Then maybe you got a shot if Alabama's on a bye week, then okay.
Yeah.
But it's got to get spread out. They'll pepper in some American teams once in a while. Like I said, bye weeks notwithstanding.
For CW, they are, at least on my cable provider, in the guide when I'm going through and grabbing all my channels to have for my last button, they're right there in the middle of them all. So while I'm going through them, I come across the CW games. I see them. So it's not a terrible channel. They just need to kind of work on their broadcast quality.
It was a joke for the old Pac with all those teams with Oregon and Washington. Yeah, that's a joke. Why would, if I'm those schools, I don't want to be on the CW either. But if your top schools are Oregon State and Washington State, that's not a bad deal.
It's reasonable visibility, surprisingly.
Yeah.
Like it's up there in the channel listings for cable anyways. So I know a lot of people don't have cable anymore, so that may not matter to them, but
better than Apple TV. It's more people are going to see you than on Apple TV. Apple TV is just, it's not there. They got shit for subscribers. They don't have anything to offer. I understand that's why they're trying to get sports so they can get more subscribers, but damn, I'd rather wait for that whatever that is, WBD and ESPN Fox thing.
Venue. Yeah. It's taking some blows.
Corpse at the corpse. Might as well be a corpse in court for a moment. But it's going to get better. It'll get through that. Someone will get paid off, and here we go.
In some form, it'll make it through.
Because once Venue's actually out there, I'm canceling everything and just getting Venue. Screw this. I ain't paying all this other crap. And I forgot who was it. I can't remember who it was that was suing them.
Fubu.
Who watches Fubu anyways?
Or Fubo. I think Fubu is clothing. Fubo.
I like Fubu better. It sounds stupid.
Yeah. I think that they're just trying to get a settlement. Like, I don't think Fubo can stop it. It's just they're gonna get damages, and that's what it is.
Yeah, because they're going to get kicked out of business. Because who the hell wants to pay all that money for Fubu? Because it's like, what is it? It's like $60-$70 a month. It's right there with YouTube TV.
Oh, is it? Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it's right there with YouTube TV as far as price. And most of the people that watch FUBU, they cater to sports stuff. They're big on soccer and all that shit. But okay, so they're like the only streamer that really special. But the thing is, they have all the carriage fees they got to pay out for all the other bull crap that nobody wants. That's why they're expensive. So when you're talking about 3 networks, essentially, that's a hell of a streaming slim package. When it's only 3 networks, ESPN, Fox, and WBD, then they're not having to shit out a bunch of carriage fees, a bunch of crap no one watches, Lifetime and all this crap. So, I mean, because I think Venue is going to be like $40 a month, $30 a month, something like that.
I think I saw 40 something, 45.
Which is way cheaper. That cuts your streaming bill in half as far as sports goes. If you don't like it, FUBU, then change your business model. That's the way I see it. I mean, it's competition. Anyway, that's my rant for the day. See, day one, Rob, what's up? The PAC needs to go back to the table with the 4 AAC schools, and they need to mutually come to a deal. It's not going to happen, though. They've already made up their mind.
Yeah, I think that bridge got burned.
And really, I didn't think it was going to happen anyway. It just made more sense for them to stay put. They're making enough money. Wait for the ACC to blow up, and then get in there. It's going to be similar money than you get with the PAC, but less travel. It just makes more sense. Because, I mean, I predict the ACC, when Florida State and Clemson, when they finally are able to get out of there, they're going to be followed by a lot of teams. Because you got three big conferences that want teams. I mean, I believe the SEC wants 2 of them. Maybe the Big Ten wants 1, and the Big 12, 4 to 8. Probably meet in the middle at 6, but there's a lot of schools gone. So they're gonna rebuild it same way the PAC is going to, and have that mid, what do we call it? A mid conference, I guess, a tweener conference. You're not a power conference, not a G5. You're a little above that.
Could be. I was kind of ponder and think that some of the private universities are going to want their own conference for making their own rules. Just because like they have very different admission standards for athletes, and so it's kind of what's that?
Who has different admission standards?
Private universities, like a lot of your publics will have different admission standards for athletes, than from the rest. But whereas privates they don't, so they're playing generally under different rules. Right. So otherwise, general realignment rules say you're correct. Like that's exactly how it would go if they lose this bunch of schools. They're just going to have to backfill, and that's what it's going to be. The only way that could possibly not be the case is if some of those private schools that have moved in there in moves that, like you said, don't make a lot of sense otherwise. Like that's what they want to create. Because why would a Stanford do this unless they want to play with certain schools that kind of play by the same rules?
I think there's a good chance Stanford and Cal will end up back in the PAC one day. Like I said, I mean, if the ACC blows up like that, or if I don't know why the hell they would have, sign on to some kind of agreement where the grant of rights gets less when you already agreed to come in for $10 million a year. But after I think it's like 8 years, they're supposed to be full members, something like that. Around 2032-ish. But if you do a deal, a negotiated thing with Florida State and Clemson to where it's unequal revenue sharing and your grant of rights is shorter, well, that kind of screws Stanford and Cal out of the whole deal that they signed up for. I don't know. I'm like,
word on that.
Full share now, or I'm not agreeing to it.
Word on that is they didn't have the votes. Like it already kind of is dead.
What's that?
It's already kind of dead. They didn't have the votes.
Yeah, I didn't think so. That was my whole. I
think there was quite a few schools that didn't like it, and maybe Florida State and Clemson knew that when they brought it forward. Kind of more evidence of like, look, we tried. Come on, judge. Come on, judge. Like we don't. I mean,
we gave you the option.
Yeah, like the way it was put out so late at night, and I had questions like, okay, is there a hearing tomorrow in court, or why does this have to go out right now? So it was just kind of strange.
Well, I mean, the judge told him that, hey, you got to try to work something out. Okay.
We tried.
We gave him the deal, and all these members turned it down. I guarantee you Louisville turned it down because they want out of there anyway. To me, they're the Colorado of the ACC.
Well, the Louisville, I mean, they wanted in the Big 12 from the get-go. And if it's all kind of equivalent money, and if the Big 12 wants them, like, what do they care? Like, I know everyone like puts it about money. Like, even if you're giving up a little bit of money in your Louisville, you're looking kind of at the Big 12. Like, that's actually where we better belong. And I don't think a lot of ACC people would disagree with that. Like, Louisville is great for the conference. I mean, they're ranked. They're kind of sort of becoming, the anti-Notre Dame. They beat them last year. They got a big game this weekend.
Yeah.
But kind of close proximity. But at the same time, I mean, they wanted in the Big 12 and they got turned down for West Virginia. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's actually where they want to be and they would be part of whatever it takes to get out.
And I know some people, I've had one person, I say some people, I try to make it a bigger deal, make a mountain out of the molehill. But, I had one person in the comments, a Louisville guy, like, why the hell y'all had your chances to get Louisville. I'm like, oh, hell, stop being butthurt. I'm sorry, we wanted West Virginia. Like, West Virginia's the shits. Everyone keeps forgetting this. West Virginia is a pretty damn great university to have. Maybe the ACC didn't recognize that, but we sure as hell did. I don't know. It makes nothing but sense to have West Virginia. They want West Virginia. It's a great freaking fan base. And they're a fantastic brand for the Big 12. And so would Louisville be. But, you had TCU right there.
Yeah, and they had to kind of get back into the Texas. I think Louisville would be great now. That's not, with the comment, that's not calling for whatever with the ACC. I think, honestly, if Louisville could get out on its own, just on its own, no cost, whatever, like you want to go to the Big 12, go ahead. I think they would. I think that they would take it in a heartbeat. It's just, I don't think the Big 12 is looking to add just one school.
No.
So it's part of like a whole thing that they would have to be part of. But I just think, for whatever anyone wants to feel or think about the ACC and the Big 12 and, this thing that it's become, I say Louisville is kind of a different thing to look at. Like they actually belong more in the Big 12 than they do the ACC. And I think that they probably kind of feel a bit like an outsider in the ACC. Certainly geographically, culturally.
Well, they're probably an afterthought to the bigger, quote unquote, bigger schools. Like, who cares what you think, you toothless redneck bastard? Yeah. But they're important. They're one of your better football programs. They're one of your better basketball programs. I'm sorry if they're not, Stanford academically, but no one's adding anyone for academics, damn it.
Now,
if you do,
it's just a totally different business, right? Like, it's schools that don't care as much about how much they make, and it's more like who you're hanging out with.
It's not like you're only doing research in your athletic conference. That's the dumbest shit ever. These schools work together as far as research goes all the time. They don't give two shits what conference they're in. The people that are doing research, the bookworms, the nerds, the guys with their Bunsen burners and all that, they ain't watching football. They don't give a shit. They know they got to deal with it because it gets donors into the program. That's it. It's something they have to tolerate. But all the money the research dollars are getting, it has nothing to do with the athletic programs or nothing else. I mean, these people, they feel like they're on a higher plane of existence because they're looking into a microscope. And those people, those schools, those departments, they can research with whoever they want. Most of the time, they're doing research with schools that have no athletics at all. It's it's the dumbest shit. And I understand people make so much. I know the Big Ten have a certain feel about them.
I was like, yeah, I was gonna say that's the one conference where it's actually tied in.
More political than it is academics with the Big Ten.
There is that. That's a big part of it.
I think that's the whole thing because they basically run the AAU, the Big Ten.
Yeah, the SEC and the ACC have formed. I don't want to call it groups. They've formed some institutions within it where they're trying to do similar things to the Big Ten in that regard. But as you're saying, a lot of these schools, they do research with other schools and it's already set up and they already have relationships. So it's kind of hard to get them to move away from that. Whereas the Big Ten, the core schools, most of them have been together since the very late 1800s, the turn of the century. So a lot of their relationships were already together. So for anyone coming in there to be part of that and to join the BTAA, yeah, you are kind of possibly having to give up on some relationships because they share so much information that it's open source. So you can't share their stuff with someone who's outside. And that's really hard to replicate for some of these conferences like the ACC, the SEC, the Big 12, with, when you're shuffling in members and out members, that's really hard to replicate. So yeah, it's not as big of a deal, but there is those people who are just, kind of uppity about who they are considered to be partners and peers with. And it doesn't make a lot of sense, but it is kind of real.
Like I said, the Big Ten is kind of its own thing when it comes with that.
Yeah,
all the
it really
stuff
is.
and I've read the same kind of stuff with them. But I'm talking more like along the lines of, before Stanford and Cal went to the ACC, it's not like they didn't have discussions with the Big 12. A lot of people say, well, no, they'd never go to the Big 12. For a full share, yeah, they would have went right to the Big 12. Oh, there's no AAU schools there. Well, there is now. We got 5 now. They would have been more than happy to be 6 and 7 because they don't have to share research with all these crappy truck stop Big 12 schools. They can keep it all to themselves or to the people who they're used to doing stuff with, like Utah, like Colorado or whoever. So they already have those relationships. Absolutely, they would have because it doesn't affect their research money at all to come to the Big 12. It doesn't screw them up. It's that kind of shit that I get tired of hearing. It's ridiculous. Like, okay, well the SEC isn't shit when it comes to academics outside of Vanderbilt, maybe possibly another school or two, but traditionally they're not thought of as your most academic.
No one's trying to make any claim. Yeah.
And if somehow they offered Stanford a spot, you think they're going to turn down the SEC? No.
Actually, probably because they don't want to get just brutalized on the field. And I'll just say this: with Stanford, you have to support enough sports. Yeah. Because they do the full board, and that is what the ACC.
It's majorly theoretical. This is just
Yeah, I know.
If they're offered a full share in the SEC, their ass is going. They'll be the pinata of the SEC for that money.
The SEC doesn't support a lot of sports, though, whereas the ACC does. That's honestly why I thought they made the decision they made, and it's not, and the big.
Well, they're starting to reinvest now, for what it's worth.
Who the SEC?
And they do invest in their Olympic sports. It's a little cheaper than football, probably, but
they might be turning around.
They're starting to make those investments in their football and their basketball once again.
Stanford,
yeah, finally.
People should be watching what goes on there. Their NIL is ballooning.
Well, they got plenty of money.
That's the thing. They just have to care. Because you were right before when you're saying a lot of those people, they don't care. They don't care about these sports. They don't care in the same degree that people in the SEC or the Big 12 do. I mean, I see it all the time. SEC and Big 12 guys taking shots at Big 10 and they're the way they are in football. I'm like, honestly, the part of the problem is a lot of people in the Big 10 don't care as much. They don't care about the results as much as folks in the SEC or Big 12. They still care, but it's just kind of like, okay.
Yeah, you just got to hear the story that Aaron Rodgers tells about his time in Cal. Some of these,
Yeah, he's had
I'm sure have you seen that interview?
I've caught a couple of them in terms of problems he had with a couple of the professors, and
just really not giving a shit
no,
that he's the starting quarterback.
no, like
and
you
basically
are
treating him like crap because of it.
yes, yeah, like he's like on a lot of campuses, like you're like big man on campus, but they go out of their way to be like, no, you're just a football player. Like the guy over here who's part of this research program, who's putting out this, he is so much more than you. You are just garbage, and we have to put up with you. Yeah.
What, you to go to the NFL? Huh?
Yeah.
You to get a contract, buddy? No, you're not. Future Hall of Famer later.
They helped him get that because, that's a pretty big chip on your shoulder.
Yeah. As much as I don't know, I used to really not like Aaron Rodgers, but after a few of the interviews I've seen, some of the Pat McAfee stuff, I've kind of warmed up on him a little bit. But I did want to highlight this thing from Friction Hitch. Houston was super lucky to get into the Big 12. I don't think so. They've been a target of the Big 12 for a while. Not for Texas, not for Oklahoma, but for everybody else. All these other schools and supporters of the TCUs of the world and the Techs of the world, we've been wanting BYU and Houston in this thing for a long time. I mean, to us, it was embarrassing to be the Big 12 with 10 schools. That's stupid. All right. It's not embarrassing to me to be 16 and be the Big 12, but to be under 12 schools and call yourself the Big 12 is just laughable. But that's Texas and OU greed there. They didn't want to split up any more money. But no, Houston isn't super lucky. If Texas and OU, when they left, they were the next target, or if someone else left besides Texas and Oklahoma, if Oklahoma State left or whatever, Houston was going to be the next target. That was always going to happen. So I won't call that luck.
Houston is like a big brand in basketball. I don't know if people I mean, Big 12 cares about that. Mark cares about that. So I think that's part of it. Plus, it's like, what, a 30 to 40K school, public school in the city of Houston. So to me, that was actually a no-brainer grab. That's if they lose, who cares?
In the 20 teens anyway, they had some nice success there. They kept losing coaches, to bigger programs.
Yeah.
But, that's the way it is. The rest of the G5 could say goodbye to D1 football. That's a little much there, Friction Hitch. Damn, he thinks everyone's the Antichrist. But no, G5 is going to be around. They got media deals. They'll be fine. Let's see here. UNLV never signed the Mountain West Agreement, despite reports of such. Yeah, they didn't. Of course, I think I'm late on reading all these. Which isn't my fault. Immaculate likes to talk.
I'll take it. It's true.
Then again, I invited you to come on here and talk. Let's see here. What else we got here? People arguing. Pete Tham was also supporting UNLV scoring options. Yep. Mm-hmm. Now, to be fair, they were going to sign that Mountain West Agreement until Utah State. Then they're like, oh, what do we want to stay without Utah? I don't know. When it was going to be the 8 solidified, they were going to stay. But when one of them broke off, we've seen this before. We saw it with the old pack when Colorado left. Oh, so much for the good feelings, and we're all in this together. We're all West Coast. We're all Pac-12 for life. One guy leaves. Oh, screw this. We're getting out of here.
Funny thing, I'll be real quick on it. The 8, if Utah State was to say part of that's Hawaii. And they're only a football member, so they don't actually count. So to me, the whole thing that they put out about that is kind of BS. And I think they just thought that no one else was going to say yes. No one else was going to want to go over. But right now they're at 7 in the Mountain West, but that includes Hawaii. And so they're really at 6.
Yeah.
So they were already still going to need another school. But I just think that they thought they had solidarity to stay together. And when they realized they didn't, now all of a sudden it's, okay, who's next down the line? Is San Jose State going to say yes?
That
Maybe.
I don't know. And, people have, at least on my channel, like, oh, San Diego's, San Jose State. Like, it is a Bay Area school, it's a pretty gigantic market.
It's another California school.
Yeah, it's your third one. You're going to be a West Coast school, West Coast Conference. It makes sense. So, like I said, they're not going to take everybody, but selected few. I thought Utah State would. I thought that'd be one they would look at. But I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm just overvaluing the Texas schools, Texas State and UNT. But I was kind of hoping they would be able to get an option there. Maybe they will. I don't know. See what UNLV does.
It's tougher to go west than it is to go east. So
AAR. UNLV doesn't want to go without Nevada Reno. If that's true, then screw UNLV. What? You got to look out for yourself. Come on now. At this level, stop. Just stop expecting everything.
I think that was more. They have the same shared board, so there was some worry that if they were having secret talks with the UNLV, that it would slip out, because they were very quiet about that first 4. Nobody said anything or knew anything about it. So for keeping things hush, I understand maybe why they didn't talk with UNLV, but I think UNLV could go separate if they wanted to.
They should be able to work something out. Damn it. And they got the 180 to 220 for the buyout fees. I don't know if they want to spend it all on buyout fees there, AAR. Be a little much. Let's see. Chat Sports. How reliable is Chat Sports? They're immaculate for Gonzaga. They expect the Zags to join the Pac-6. But they're not bad, Chat Sports. They're not CNN. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not too familiar. I know we had the competing reports. And Gonzaga didn't say that they weren't talking, just that they hadn't had an agreement. So it's still possible. It could happen.
And he wanted to ask if Utah State was in or out. They are in.
Yeah, who would have thought Utah State with the big donors? I never knew.
Yeah, well, it's a beautiful country. I guess rich people moved in. Or Mormons just have way more money than we think.
There's a lot of that. And I don't know. Is Utah State kind of a lot more Mormon leaning than, say, Utah? I mean, for those who want to go to a state school, I don't know.
You would think. I don't know. I don't know if they're getting too many kids from other states.
Where's it located? Do you know? Is that at Salt Lake City?
I don't know. I don't know a bunch about Utah State.
I know nothing.
They got tore up by Utah earlier this year.
Yeah,
I know that.
I was thinking maybe where it's located that might be making a difference.
Yeah, because BYU's not in Salt Lake City. They're kind of south of there, I believe. I don't think Utah is either.
No, I think they're kind of in an outlying.
So it makes sense for the Utah State to actually be in the biggest town.
Mm-hmm. So that might be how they have all the. Because if you got big money people there who want Utah State just for being a local, like here, Arizona State's and Scottsdale, Tempe, but other people who aren't connected to it locally still support it.
Let's see. Everyone has been dissing San Jose the last 2 weeks. They actually kind of have been dissing them. People didn't like that idea that I put out there either about San Jose possibly getting into the pack. They thought that.
I don't see why not. I mean, they just had a coach that got picked by Arizona.
Yeah.
Their team just had a pretty good game. So.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't know a crap ton about San Jose State, other than it's probably, considering where it's at, it's probably a pretty nice campus. It's in a very, very affluent part of the country. That's probably the highest housing prices in the country. So it's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, a lot of tech in San Jose.
It's Silicon Valley, right in there.
And yeah, there's
Me Too, fit for expedition. I think Texas State is a strong choice.
I can see why the Pac would want them. I don't know if Texas State wants all of their sports for everyone every single time, going 2 time zones west and then coming back home late at night every night. I know some people might not think that's a big deal, but it's difficult for recruiting.
Yeah, let me pause for a second. Something I got to go check out real quick. Someone at my door. I was expecting somebody.
Oh.
It just rang. Sorry. Be right back.
Now, I did notice someone here just said that Utah State is in Logan. I don't know where that is exactly in Utah. Do you guys know where Logan, Utah is in Utah compared to Salt Lake City? If you do, put that in chat and we'll have that there. In terms of Texas State, I know back when Texas was flirting with the Pac, I caught a little blurb from the AD after the fact saying why they didn't want to go. And this was just to a Chamber of Commerce. So this is much smaller. This isn't to media. This was to local money people. I think it was in Lufkin, if I'm remembering correctly. One of the big things he stated was why they decided not to go was because of the time zone difference and how you go over there and you play a game. And then to come back home, you lose 2 hours every single time, and how hard that is on the players and on recruiting. And, I know we tend to think of these guys as just being about the money and not caring, but they have to manage an entire athletic department. And I could imagine how that would be a pretty hard sell to some recruits when you've got all these other choices in the state of Texas that don't require that of you. So that's why when I see Texas State, I absolutely think that the Pac and all them would reach out to them. But if I'm Texas State, and especially if you're going all by yourself, that's pretty tough, man. That's got to be a considerably amount of money more. You have to know what you're getting into. So that's pretty tough. Someone is saying Utah State has the NASA Ames. Okay, that's pretty big. Almost in Idaho, so it's not really Salt Lake City. All right.
Well, sorry guys. Still have one kid living at home. Ordered them dinner.
Sorry, we talked Texas State for a while, so you're good.
And I'm the only. But why am I the only son of a bitch that in this house I could answer a fucking door?
Because you answer the door.
We got a ring. Everyone's got the app, but I'm the only one that looks at it. Anyway, I appreciate that. You hold it down. Texas State, yeah, come on. Texas State. Let's see who else is on here. Utah State has NASA Ames Research Center. Well,
that was news to me. Yeah, I saw them say that. Did not realize that.
Yeah, NASA's tricky. You never know what they got.
Iowa State has one too, so that was interesting when you said that. I was like, wait, Ames? What? Okay. Because Iowa State has a NASA center too.
So they said it's in Logan, so let's see where Logan is.
Someone said almost Idaho. Friction here said almost Idaho, but still not that familiar. But that's not exactly close. Salt Lake City is northern half, but
see Logan, Utah. I'll try to get an idea here. Yeah, I don't think that's anywhere freaking near. Yeah, I think it's probably closer to Boise. I don't know. It's north. Out in
probably
country.
Probably a good college town then.
Probably. Yeah, I took a trip out to Eugene a few weeks ago. That was fun.
For a game? Or just going there?
I have family there. They have exited California. But they're a little too liberal for Texas. So
you got to find what fits you.
Yeah. But but as I'm driving around different, because there's not a lot to Eugene. It's kind of a small town. But so there's a lot of country out there. And I can't tell you, it looked like I was in Texas with all the damn Trump signs. It's kind of incredible. It's like, whoa, y'all got ass tons of rednecks out here. I'm not, look, I live in Texas. I'm not used to seeing that many white people in one spot. That was incredible. I was like, whoa, that's where everybody went. Oregon.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, you leave the cities up there and it's.
Oh, hell, even in the city. The city is mostly white folk. I'm like,
oh, yeah.
They ain't got Mexican food worth a damn. Worth a damn. I've made a bad mistake. I was just like hungry. And we get a breakfast burrito. Oh no. And it was made by Hispanic people. I don't know. They like they moved up there, but they're not going to give these whiteies like real shit, Here we got such a huge Spanish population, you got to come with the good stuff. Because if the word gets around to those communities that you suck, you're going out of business.
Yeah, I mean, here in the Phoenix Metro, I'm in Scottsdale. Like, if you don't have good Mexican food, you're just going out of business. Like, there's just too many choices.
Yeah, you're a border state. My God,
Yeah,
border states better come with some food.
Yeah, I mean, if I go somewhere and I get bad, I'm like, where did you come from? You must have come from up north somewhere, because you just can't make bad Mexican food here and survive.
Yeah, and it's like there was one good chicken place, but it happened to be closed. It's ran by one guy. He's got one employee himself, and he's from Houston. He moved out there, opened up his own chicken place, and that's the only good chicken place in town, apparently, according to my family.
It must be. That's how he can keep those hours, is he can just work whenever he wants and sells plenty of chicken.
Well, we were going to go get a mess of chicken, then he called in sick. So it was no chicken.
He called himself like, I'm not going in.
Yeah, you got something going on. I was like, okay, maybe next time we're in town.
I mean, if it's the only chicken joint, what are you going to do? Not go buy chicken when he's open next time?
Got to make your own or go to, KFC, which sucks. KFC used to be decent when I was a kid, but
no, you can't eat it.
No, it's unedible. There's nothing left to backfill with. Only New Mexico State, UTEP, Texas State. We talked about that. South Dakota State, which wouldn't be a bad deal. I don't know about Montana State or Northern Arizona either.
I like the Montanas for Mountain West. Oh yeah, I think I would love to put the Montanas with like Wyoming.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they're right there with each other.
Yeah,
South Dakota and North Dakota.
Those are right next to it. It would have been a fun little group, and at least with them, you don't know. Like, how are they going to be if they come up to the FBS? You don't know. But if you take New Mexico State, if you take UTEP, like, you already know.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, Eugene does have a lot of hippies and rednecks. To this dispensary. It was all like sci-fi geared stuff. So the outside looked like the that Spaceballs Winnebago with the wings and the jet engines and all that. I was like, that's cool. I mean, I don't smoke, but I thought it was kind of cool.
Yeah, if you want those places to be a little weird. Here everything has gone corporate. It's like they're just corporately ran. Like, you walk in, everything is just like straight as nails. Like, it's run. Kind of wish you had some of the weird places still.
Like 7-Eleven.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we don't have any dispensaries in Texas yet.
Which is crazy. Like,
you still get shot. Yeah. Got the gun stores, can't have the pot store though. We got plenty of places to shoot. You want to buy a Terminator rail gun or whatever.
Arizona is kind of like a little Texas, though, in my opinion.
Yeah, I got family out there too, Northern Arizona.
Yeah.
So I still think UNLV goes to the pack. There's a possibility.
Yeah, it definitely is now.
I don't know. I think that'd be a smart move for UNLV because the Mountain West doesn't pay what the American does. They're like 4 or 5 million, maybe 6, somewhere in there.
I think it's like 4, but Boise State had a special deal.
Yeah, I know they have a special deal. Yeah,
They were like 7, I think, or 8. So I think it was about 4.
yeah. UNLV ain't making more than 4.
But they were getting a special deal from Navarez, the commissioner. They were going to pay UNLV and UNLV and Air Force an extra $10 million to stay. So that's why UNLV jumped. Like, oh, all right, we'll take 10. That's like, 3 years of payouts.
Right.
So
What happens after that? That's the problem.
that is a problem. Now Utah State's jumping. They might be like, maybe they should have offered $10 million to Utah State. Might have sealed the deal.
Yeah, I thought they were going to divide that up equally. I didn't know it was just going to be a handful of schools.
No. It was all about trying to keep in, the particular schools that would keep it together. They misjudged Utah State.
That's unequal revenue sharing, and people don't like that shit. Keep trying to tell ACC fans that. Stop trying to think that's going to work. Or, hell, FSU or Clemson fans, that shit ain't going to work. Ain't going to fly. Oh, Miss Thornton. I think that's a Miss Thornton. I don't know. He always has a picture of a lady, so I'm guessing Miss Thornton. Could be trans. I don't know. I'm not judging. I don't need to know. I'm just.
No. Jamie, we talk a lot. She's
okay. So she's a she.
I do believe she's married.
Okay. Well, I mean, a lot of people are married nowadays.
But she has a wife.
Huh?
But she has a wife.
Oh, well. That's the better side anyway.
Now you're clued in. Yep.
Yeah. UNLV and Air Force now backing out of the Mountain West and leaving. Somebody's been on the internet.
Did that really happen, Jamie? We've been talking here. I haven't been paying attention at all. I was just like, I needed to turn off X for a little bit, man. God, it got crazy.
Yeah. So what I did? Yeah, I already got that one highlighted. Let's see here. I'm female, do have a wife. Well, we have a lot in common there, Jamie. Yes, check out your ex. Okay.
Oh, I don't want to. I'm having fun just hanging out here and not looking at X after today. Between business and trying to keep up, it was quite a day.
Yeah, it was a lot of crap. I don't really try. I just look at it, make smart ass comments once in a while. I don't know. I'll check that later. I'll take your word for it there, Jamie. Damn it. Yeah, those Mormons cashed themselves out. Well, they do have some casinos up there in Utah, I think.
I don't know. I honestly don't know a whole lot about Utah except for like that Moab's there and it's got some great country. But
yeah, it's definitely a state I want to see. I never thought I would say that because I'm like, Utah. But all the pictures I've seen is beautiful. And I drove just south of it. It's like northern Arizona, 40. Just south of the Grand Canyon. That's kind of where I was at. And
there's a lot of money going there. Salt Lake City is one of the top growth cities in the country. And it's a lot of tech that all picked up and left California.
That's Salt Lake City?
Mm-hmm. And so it's kind of becoming this alternative place to go. And I mean, you look at the owner there who's buying up all the sports teams. He bought he bought the hockey team from here from Phoenix, taking it up to Salt Lake. So he's got I think he owns all three brands there now. Basketball team, hockey, soccer.
Well, I guess it's on the come up. And now they got another school into a bigger conference. Let's see. Yep. Utah State buys into the Pac-6 conference. We knew that one. But apparently, according to Miss Jamie, that UNLV is going too. Damn.
Did that actually get announced? Or is it just kind of still, we're assuming it because they kind of backed out of the Mountain West commitment?
Yeah, Jamie can be full of it. You never know.
Oh, she
Damn
probably
right.
did see it. Like, I got a ton
Yeah.
of messages on X that I am just not getting into at this point in time. So it's probably there, and I'm just,
What do you think,
all right.
immaculate? Oh my god.
It's like, no, I've had a day. I'll get into it a little bit later, but not for right now.
$150 million. That's a lot of scratch, though. It's a lot of scratch for everyone else left.
It costs $5 million to bring up an FCS school now.
Well, they got the money.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you take 2 Mountain West schools, you take North Dakota State, you take South Dakota State. That's $20 million.
And
be the Western version of the MAC.
Don't take a phone call from Petiti or Sankey either. They're like, we don't want that. Well, tough shit. Stop taking schools and, you won't be this trickle down crap. That's what you did it. I mean, they took Texas and Oklahoma. The other side took what? 4 teams? Yeah, 4. The Big Ten basically destroyed the Pac-12 before. Shit rolls downhill, man. Don't be mad.
Yeah, they're already talking about splitting the FBS. Like that is in the House settlement stuff. The head guy for the plaintiffs has basically said, yeah, that's the way the new thing is looking. Is that so? That means some of these lower G5 conferences are probably not going to be in the same thing anyways. So like you're saying, if I was them, I'm probably looking to the P2, whatever they're saying. What's it matter anyways? I mean, I don't know if they keep up with all the big payments. You know what I mean? Like they might be splitting that in half.
For the Mountain West, like I said, if I miss Navarez, if I'm any of the presidents remaining in the Mountain West, I don't give 2 flaming shits what the SEC wants or doesn't want. I'm just not in that world. So why do I care? I mean, I'm not in Washington. I don't care about any of those people. I'm going to do what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I want to paint my house. I'm going to paint my house. Biden calls me, hey, don't paint your houses. Fuck you. Who are you? You're so far out there that you're not in my world anyway.
They want them to backfill with other G5 schools, so that way one of the G5 conferences goes away and there's one less conference taking payouts, and you kind of see where this goes.
They're going to go get UMass? What are the only independents out there?
Yeah, I think that they want them to take from CUSA. I think that they want like Conference USA or some conference to go away, where they want maybe Mountain West schools to get merged into that.
They want the MAC to go away, the Mountain West, but
I don't know.
It's
It's all like you're saying. It's all politics. I don't know how it's going to play out in the end. I mean, this whole situation's made it pretty clear that we're dealing with some controlled chaos. Like
but like I said, if I'm just on that lower level, I refuse to give a shit about what Greg Sankey or Petiti or I don't care what any of them say, and throw in your Mark and Phillips with that too. I wouldn't care. Not at all. All right, we got some more comments. When do you need to get out of here, man? It's already been over an hour.
Whenever you're ready. Whatever you're doing. I can hop out and you can deal with people in chat if you want, or
Nah, well, read a couple more of these, then we'll call it a night. But I appreciate you being here, Immaculate. It's really cool of you.
Yeah, it's been quite a day. When you asked me, I was like, oh yeah, sure. I have plenty to talk about.
All right, Miss Jamie. Since I've already crapped all over you, I might as well highlight you a little bit here. Sorry about that. Full of it a lot. We're talking about celebrity catfight between Gloria of the Mountain West and Teresa of the Pack.
Jeremy pointed out earlier that Teresa used to work for Gloria. She was her deputy commissioner. So there's some history there.
No, there's some here. That's exactly the freaking housewives of.
I mean, this is adding a whole new element to realign.
No, it is, boy. No one hates women like women. That's they keep talking about. There's some people talk about the patriarchy. I'm like, dude, I have a ton of women in my family, and nobody hates women like women.
But if you think about it, I mean, Teresa, she left deputy commissioner spot to be a deputy commissioner in another conference, but she moved up to the PAC, which is now staring eye to eye with the Mountain West. Yeah, that would be some interesting conversations, I'm sure.
He is the commissioner now with the PAC, right?
Yeah, they're equals in that regard. And the PAC isn't really that much ahead of the Mountain West right now. I mean, you're competing for schools between the two, so
yeah. Someone's canceling the Christmas card.
Yeah. Probably not a friendly situation.
Oh, I don't know how much texting's going. At least, not anything that can be publicized there, Jamie. It's probably a lot of emojis, a lot of emojis.
Someone might have blocked somebody at some point in time in that.
You hooker! A lot of that. Let's see what else we got here. That's good stuff, though. See, that's the good information I don't get. I know there's a lot of great channels out there, but damn it, they ain't giving me the cat fight. We need the cat fight.
Jamie digs up a lot. I'll just tell you that right now. Jamie has her ear to the ground.
Yeah, that's what we need. We need more Jamie. Give me a rainbow flag in this bitch. We need more Jamie. They add Sacramento State, Texas State, New Mexico State, Montana State.
That's a lot.
There's a lot of states.
That's a brand new conference.
Yeah. Portland State, South Dakota State. Good God almighty, AAR.
Can you imagine Portland State, if you ever heard, and like the Dakotas being in the same conference? That would be interesting.
Yeah. Road trips will be weird. Portland State going to Montana. I don't know. Like I said, there's a lot of Oregon that's just redneck as hell. So they're probably used to that. I don't know. Nowadays, everyone lives in their own little bubble with their own little algorithm. So they don't even know what's 20 miles outside of their town. Tyler Nelson. Which streaming service do you see Pac-12 getting involved with?
Whoever wants to get involved. I don't know. There's too many variables right now. I mean, what networks are they going to get involved with that have their own streaming capability, that don't want them to have deals with streaming services? But I mean, if just right now, who might they talk to? I'd say at least Amazon, Apple. You gotta.
Does TNT have a streamer?
No, because TNT is part of
the WBD,
and so they're going to be part of that, which is probably why Fox and ESPN are trying to bring in TNT into anything and everything, because whatever they do, they end up getting a piece of too when they work together on the Venue app. So you're going to see a lot more TNT.
Yeah. CW. Well, that's more linear there, AAR.
I don't think that they have a stream. Do they? It'd be news to me, but they might.
Pac-12 has already claimed the All-State Conference.
Well, because everyone's a state.
What's that?
Because everyone's a state, like Fresno State, San Diego State.
See, I wouldn't have caught that. I only got a GED here, immaculate. I don't catch everything.
Could be that, either that or it's because everything is such a mess there right now that they need insurance. I don't know.
It is on fire. What is this? YouTube via Pac-12, according to sources. Oh, Lord. Sources. Anyway, Immaculate, I'm not going to hold you up much longer, bud, but I do appreciate you being on here.
Oh, it's fun. Appreciate you having me on. I'm going to get out of here, let you kind of connect with Chad a little bit, but I'll do it again sometime if you like.
Yeah, I'm going to end the whole. I don't got nothing else to say about this crap. We're going to all find out at the same time through X what the hell is going to happen. That's the new media source. Anyway, thanks to everyone who's watched this crap. And again, thank you, Immaculate, for joining me. I might be able to talk him into coming back on eventually one day, sometime in the future. Anyway.
Absolutely.
Everyone smoke a bowl and take your milk and magnesia and have a good night.
Good night, guys.
Take it easy, y'all.